Okay, good afternoon guys.
Good.
Thanks for coming to our discussion group today. So we are going to discuss about the worst effect of climate change. So let me define you about the climate change first. Climate change is average weather in a place, includes pattern of temperature, humidity, wind, and also a change in usual timing. That's the meaning of climate change. So I have my own opinion about the effect of climate change. So for me, I choose destruction of ecosystem. So firstly, increasing in carbon dioxide will put our ecosystem to the test. So our scientists are already observing the bleaching and death of coral reef. You know, coral reef due to the warming of ocean water and cause the destruction of our ecosystem in sea. Okay, so next, that also the migration of vulnerable plant and animal to alternate geographic range due to rising air and water temperature, and also melting ice sheet. And the last, for me, scientists are researching the causes of these changes, the vulnerability of Earth not to predict the end of the day. They search it not for the predict the end of the day, but rather to help us reduce the change that may be caused by humans. That's my opinion. So how about you guys?
I partially agree with your point saying that climate change will disrupt the ecosystems. In my opinion, I think the worst effect caused by climate change is rising sea level. Okay, basically, sea level can be raised in two mechanisms, which is the first one is as the ocean warms, the seawater will expand, and then the seawater will take up more space in the ocean basin and causing sea level to rise. And then the second mechanism, which is the more important one, is the melting of ice over the land, which will dump tons of extra water into the ocean and causing a rise in the sea level. So what is the consequences of rising sea level? Okay, first of all, as the rising sea crawls farther and farther up to the shore, the seawater will seep into the freshwater source in the ground, and then which will make the fresh water become saltier. And then, as we all know, salt water is unsafe to drink. And then it is possible to remove the salt from the salt water, but the process is very complicated and expensive. And then secondly, the rising of sea level will interfere with farming. Those freshwater sources we use for drinking will also supply the water we use for irrigation. So the problem are the same, which is the salt water will even make the crops will even kill the crops, and then decrease our crop productivity, and hence the supply of food to us humans will be decreased. So the food price will increase, and so on, a lot of side effects. And then the third one is rising of sea level will threaten our wildlife population. Many forms of wildlife will make their home at the beach, and then as the rising ocean erode the shorelines, and then this will destroy the place where the animal live, like sea turtle and shorebirds. And then this is a very big problem for endangered animals like sea turtle, which their delicate nest will be swept away, and then they can't afford the loss of any valuable offspring. This is my opinion. How about you guys?
Okay, basically I partially agree with both of you because I agree that both of your point is the effect of the climate change, but it's not the worst effect. In my opinion, I think my point is the worst effect caused by the climate change, which is the disease. Okay, first of all, you know climate change will cause global warming, right? Global warming is one of the climate change effect, and then the warmer temperature it will cause just like what CJ said, is like the sea level will be increased, so it might cause flood in some country or in some place, right? And flood and some drought also, because some flood, some of the place may have drought, and this will encourage the worldwide health threats by creating an environment where the mosquito, ticks, mice and other disease-carrying creatures thrive. And then the global warming also foster increase the smoke, which will link to the mounting instance of the asthma attack, which will cause more people to get asthma. And then they also advance the wheat growth, and a ban for the allergic suffer will cause some of people to get more allergic because the climate change already, so maybe our skin will be affected with the temperatures of the surrounding also. And then there's a number of the disease well known to be climate sensitive, which they will easily get affected by the temperature in the surrounding one, which the climate. For example, it's such as malaria. You guys know malaria is caused by a type of mosquito, right? Because this type of mosquito, they carry the Plasmodium disease, right? This disease can easily, it's very sensitive to the temperature. So when the temperature increase, getting warmer, right, this disease will be spread really faster. So it cause the malaria case will be increased. And then also the cholera and then the Lyme disease, and expected to be worsened as the climate change result in higher temperature and more extreme weather. And then, for other example, according to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change will be associated with larger transmission season for malaria in some regions of Africa. This according to a statistic they carry out, and then they carry out the research, and they find out some of the disease will cause getting more serious during the temperatures getting higher, which is caused by climate change. And then for me, I think disease is the worst effect because it causes death more among humans when during the climate change happen. I agree with your points causing sea level rise, and also cause the ecosystem to be unbalanced. And then your point is about the destruction of ecosystem, right? Both of your point is important also, but for me, I think my one is more the worst because we are human, right? So we think ourselves is more important, right? So if disease attack us, sure that I think this is the worst effect for climate change. Do you agree with my point?
Yes.
Continue.
Okay, continue.
Oh, my turn.
Yeah.
I agree with your point about
70%.
disease, but not completely agree.
Okay.
I also agree up to a point with you saying that rising sea level and destruction of ecosystem as the effect of climate change. But I think that drought, dry, is the worst effect of climate change. This is due to its effect to the environmental. To be more specific, its effect more to the agriculture and water supply, to transportation and health. So severe drought can cause water shortage in some area, especially to the third country. And I would like to be more focused on agriculture. So by this drought puts the health and well-being not only to animals and crops at risk, but the farmers as well, who depend on the crops. By extension, some crops begin to yield yield less. which cause the food cost can be spiked for the rest of us, and it may cause a threat of shortage begin to in some area. So, Intan, do you have anything to say?
But sorry for disturbing. Before that, can you explain more a little bit about why you think that the worst effect caused by climate change is drought? Can you explain more?
Drought happen when climate change cause global warming, right?
Yeah.
So global warming cause the temperature to be rising, and when temperature rises, the moisture in the soil will be evaporated and cause the soil to be dry. So that's why it causes drought to some area.
Yeah, but why you think it's very worse to us? Is it getting better worse?
The crops needs water to survive and to produce its food, right? So
So do you mean that we need to use like more irrigation system for our crops, right? So that we need more water for the crops in the drought area?
No, if no water is supplied to our agriculture, then we will not have food supply. Is that what you mean?
The land becomes unsustainable, and then we have to rely on the import food. Is it what you mean?
Oh, okay, I understand.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. After hearing all of you guys, all of your points, I agree with the points given, but I think your points is related to my points, because in my opinion, the worst effect of climate change is the economic consequences. Okay, so as we know, climate change can cause hurricanes, cause floods, cause droughts, causing the rise of sea level and the destruction of ecosystem, and also heat waves, and also cause death, disease, and also will affect our growing seasons, our growing crops. So it will affect our economy, especially in lower income countries. They will most likely to suffer a severe consequences. Okay, first of all, because all of this climate change that cause hurricanes, for example, will cause damage to our properties and our infrastructure. So and it will require extensive repair of essential infrastructure. Means it will cost more money to repair the destructed buildings. Okay, and secondly, we'll also lose productivity, because during this climate change, during drought, hurricanes, floods, we cannot do anything. We people cannot do anything. So there will be no school, no work, and distraction in daily life. So no energy production, factories will be closed, and tourism will be affected. So it means that it will affect our economy. It will also can delay our planting and harvesting, so there will be no income for the country. So after that, rebuilding after disaster strike will also prove that we will use more money to repair all those distracted. Do you understand?
Yeah, sure.
But I want to add something.
Yeah.
But I agree of both of you that say about the effect of the climate change. But I have another opinion.
Yeah.
That's by the human action. That is deforestation. You know deforestation, right? So deforestation is can cause also can cause a climate change. We know that trees are responsible to supply the oxygen to human, right? So when the tree is released, when tree are responsible in absorbing water from soil, and the tree will release back to atmosphere after the tree process in evaporation process that forest tree do to us. So this is give a lot of effect of our ecosystem if we do the forest deforestation without under control. So that's I add some point of my opinion in destruction of ecosystem. So I think we can jump to the conclusion. So anyone have the?
But after finalize with all your point, right? I think my point is the worst effect caused by climate change also, because I think disease is very scary one for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But I also think my point is still the worst effect. It will affect all of us too.
okay.
Besides disease.
I also stick to my own point, saying that rising sea level is the worst effect, because if the sea level is controlled, the flood won't happen. All the things can be controlled. The building won't be destroyed, and then we don't have to pay. We don't have to build up everything again. If I think if the sea level is controlled, then
Yeah, the things will be
fine.
controlled.
Yeah. So I still stick to my own point.
Okay, so in conclusion, everyone is like
Agree with
not agree.
Not agree, yeah.
Everyone is like
Their
have
own.
their own opinions about what's the worst
Worst
effect
effect.
caused by climate change. Okay, this is our today's discussion. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.